Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Astrox Imperium. This is devlog number 104. We're taking a look at build 138 and today's date is the 3rd of December 2022. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and get started here by wishing everyone a happy holidays, and I hope that your Christmas is just as good as your Thanksgiving was. I know mine was pretty awesome. I got to spend some time with family and get a little bit of work done, and that always makes me happy. Alright, so you can see here I've started us out in mod tools because I do want to take a moment to show you some of the little additions and tweaks here that we have going on with the ship editor. So if you remember a couple builds back, I put a pie plate in. It was kind of like a directional thing so that you could see where the front and back was, and I made some modifications to that. And then I've also added in some stuff that will help you out a little bit with the design. So if you recall down here, we used to have a bunch of little things that were not very well described. So I went ahead and put it on a little panel here, and you can pop open your options panel and you can toggle that directional pie plate so that if you don't want it, or maybe you're trying to do specialized screenshots or something, outside of the image that's created in the editor. And so now you can toggle that on and off, and you can also toggle on and off the engines. Now I am going to make some changes here that'll let you, do some stuff with the way that the engines are being displayed, the colors and things that you have access to normally in the ship garage. So I will give you the ability to play with some of that stuff in the editor and hopefully tie in some more of the coloring and things in with the textures and just improve how you're giving the overall look to the ship. And I think that is a pretty nice addition that we have there. And then also I have some stuff in here for the ambient lighting. That's just set up because in the future there's going to be some ability to rotate and play around with the lighting, so that if you want to create a particular mood for a class of ships, maybe they're like some kind of stealth ships or whatever, and you want the ships to look a lot darker and have a different type of lighting, but they still need to show up in the image. You'll be able to play with some of the colorations of the lights and the rotational stuff on where those lights are placed. I think currently I have 2 ambient lights. I'll probably keep it relatively simple, give you a top and bottom, and let you spin them around to create whatever kind of lighting effect you want on that ship. Alright, so that pretty much covers that, and I do believe there was one other thing that I've made a change to. Oh yeah, so your image. When you're clicking the save image, what used to happen is you would click the save image button, and then it would pop open this little thing here and instantly save the image, just like you're used to. But what's happening now is it doesn't save the image. It actually just creates a temporary image so that you can make sure that you have things lined up. So if I'm looking at this image, I'm like, actually I want it to be a little bit more zoomed in, and I do not want the engines to show. So let me go ahead and discard that. Let me turn the engines off. The pie plate is automatically being turned off, so you'll notice that when I click the save image button, it temporarily turns off the pie plate, grabs the image for you, and then turns it back on. So you can see it's not quite centered the way that I want, and I'd like it to be zoomed in a little bit more. So let's go ahead and do that, and then I'll middle mouse wheel click to drag down the entire camera, and then we'll do it again. And then you see, okay, yeah, it's a little bit, maybe I dragged it down a little bit too much. I'm going to scoot it back up there and do it again. So now, once I get it exactly the way that I want, I can click the save image button, and then it will overwrite. So that's something that I've been wanting to mess around with and fix, and I finally got around to doing that. And there will be a few other little additions and tweaks coming into the ship editor. There was one other suggestion that I picked up. It's something, I don't know why I never finished it, but there was actually commented code in the parts panel for the highlighting. And I think what may have happened is the way that I had the old ship editor set up, I was confused, and I just said, I'll come back to it in the morning, and totally forgot about it. And this was probably, 8 months ago. I'm such a good developer. Anyway, I got it fixed now. So you can click on these items on this panel, and when it selects the part, it will actually highlight the part that's selected. So clicking here, you're seeing what part is selected, and then the reverse works. If you hold Control and you click on a part on the ship itself, it will also highlight the actual piece over here. So that's coming along good. I guess some of the focus that I'll be having here in the next few months will be working on some of the stats panel stuff where you're playing with these colors. Things are going to get spaced out a little bit more. I'll probably make this panel quite a bit bigger and just give you a little bit more room to play with these elements, because a lot of them are very important and you're not going to really know, just by looking at this mess of, text field boxes, what's what. So I'll put some little stuff here with the color clickers and, put some stuff in here where you'll actually be able to select, all of the images for the ship materials that have been placed in a particular folder. And that way you can put more images in that folder and then come through here and use them with your ships just to make it easier. That's pretty much all I'll be doing with that. And then there were a few little bugs that I had to address. One of them was, leaving this 3D widget and then closing out and opening up your structure editor was causing some issues to where you would actually see that 3D widget, left on the screen here. So that's no longer the case. That has been fixed. And I think that pretty much covers what I want to discuss in Mod Tools. So let me go ahead and close out of here and we'll load up the game. Alrighty, I've got the game loaded up here, and I'm chilling in the station here at SimKitten. Let's go through, and I'll show you some of the updates we got going on here. Alright, so one of the biggest things that I needed to make some changes to was this barrage of icons that's appearing everywhere. So you can see now that the cargo panel has a drop down for its filter. You can click down, you can select all of these items, and now that we have the drop down, I added in those extra classes. So you've got a few extra items here that you can filter by, document. That wasn't one that you could filter by before. So that all has been changed. And then I've also made those changes in some other places. I guess I'm going to have to undock here to go ahead and show you that. I don't think I'm in a very safe sector, so I wouldn't be surprised if raiders show up here. And so what I'm going to do is open up this, and you'll see your autopilot panel now has drop downs for set orbit distance. So you can immediately set your orbit distance. You can also change your angle of orientation and then your ship speed. And you can still click on that. This is the only one that you can manually set as long as it's falling in between. Uh-oh, my life support's getting weak. As long as it falls in between the minimum and maximum distances you're allowed to set. All right, let's go down into here, and then you're seeing this here. We've got our sort filter is now a drop-down menu as well. So I have added that. And then there's some stuff that's gone on with drones, and I want to show you how that works. So I've currently got a bunch of drones here locked. Let's go ahead and select them all and undock them. Oops, did the wrong way. Undock them. Alrighty. So what I've done is there's been, it must have been very serendipitous. It all seemed to come from different directions from different people all at the same time, completely unrelated, yet they were all talking about the same thing. The ability to have a little bit more control over the way the drones were behaving. And one of the guys that does a lot of ships and ship designs had made mention that he would like drones to be stationary. And that got me thinking. I'm like, yeah, like why can't the drones just hang out, within range of your ship? They don't have to like chase away. The initial concept of a drone was you're making the drone go where you don't want to go, which was the whole point. But, the play style, especially in combat, might be a little bit more conducive to have those drones flying around your main ship, even though they're on an active target. So now what we have going on here, let's go ahead and scoot this up a bit, is you've got your normal stuff that you do with your drones here, and then you'll notice that the drones have, like your fleet does, the little stance indicator. So you can see all my drones are currently in neutral. So what that means for the drone, crap, we're going to have to fuss with this, aren't we? Basically what that means for the drone is that it will travel to its distance, whatever its max range is. Now, you may be familiar with, this is a fucking shit system. I'm getting out of here. All right. I switched over on these stations here so that I can get us in a nice safe sector because I kept getting attacked by raiders. So I want to show you guys this uninterrupted. So let's go through this little bit by little bit. All right, what we're going to do is, let's turn that off. We ain't trying to go nowhere. And we want to disable that GPS. And we want to select a rock. And this rock is going to be, that's too far. I don't want to go that far. Let's get something a little bit closer. How's this one? That's good. All right, so let's go ahead and activate autopilot. I want to get a little bit closer to that anyway. And we want to go, where are we going to that one? Okay, so let's set these drones up. We're going to click on the actual drone icon to change its stance. So we'll turn this one yellow, which is defensive. We'll leave green as neutral, and red will be aggressive. So basically what that's going to mean is our yellow drone is not going to go anywhere. It's going to stay close to us and will only mine the target when I get close enough to the target. The green will fly as close as he can, but as soon as he starts to get out of range, he's going to chill and hang back and wait until I get closer so that he can get closer. He doesn't want to get out of range, so he'll bounce back and forth in that orange and green. And then the red guy, he didn't give a shit. He's going to go full on out of range and start mining that asteroid. So we'll get up to about, I say about here or so, and let's go ahead and select all three drones and send them to our target. So you'll notice that drone 1 and 2 that are neutral and aggressive are starting to head out. And as soon as that neutral drone gets within range, it's going to stop moving towards the asteroid. Back this up a little bit. He'll stop moving and wait. And I don't know, maybe his range is about 5. Yeah, he's right about there. So he's waiting, and the other guy, he's just close enough to start mining. So you see he's filling up. And I can show you that there's been some new animation stuff for the drones. They're actually firing little beams now, which is really cool. Oops, too far. All right, so now you can see the drone that was an aggressive was able to get there and mine. And now this guy finally got enough. I got close enough that he was able to mine a little bit. So if I turn on my autopilot, it should start bringing me closer. And then eventually this guy, once he gets within, 200-300 of the surface on the rock, he'll be able to activate. So you can see my other drones are dropping off their ore. And then there we go. And we're all headed over to the rock. Now, once we get close enough to the rock, you'll see these other guys, now that drone is in neutral, he's probably within range. If I were to stop, the drone that is aggressive and the drone that is in neutral will both be able to make it over there, where the other drone will not. Let's get a little bit closer here. I want that other mining drone to get in the mix. You can see my neutral and my aggressive one are going strong and filling up. But my little guy here, my defensive drone, has not quite gotten close enough. But I'll tell you what, the effect is quite cool. I'm going to switch all my drones into defensive. And now watch this. Once I start to get close enough to the asteroid, I'm still about 12. The drones are only going to be within range, an action range of about 250. There you go. So you can start to see their beams are coming out. And autopilot's turned off. Well, let me back it up a little bit. So it gives you an interesting effect when you're drone mining with all your guys sitting out there. Obviously, you don't see it when they're latching on the big ones. There you go. Same effect has been applied to the combat drones. So you're going to notice that the combat drones are firing beams instead of that fluffy cloud-looking shit that was coming out of them before. I just like the way that looks a lot more. And I was able to, for any of the Unity developers, I was able to achieve that effect with a particle system. What you have to do is make sure that you have the collision for the particles turned on, and then make sure that the mask for that collision layer is only active for those particular drones or that particular object type or tag or layer, and then you project those particles out, and then once they collide with whatever you're allowing them to collide with, they disappear. So it's creating the beam effect, even though, and it's a lot less intensive than trying to do a line renderer between them. All right, so that pretty much covers what's going on here with the drones. I'm going to head back to the station. We can go ahead and pull these guys back in. Let's get these guys back in too. And let's go and dock, and I'll show you some other stuff we got going on. So over the holidays here, I'm still focusing on these storyline mission stuff. I'm about ready to release some of the side quest things. I think it'll be interesting and fun, but really what the purpose of the side quests is to test out the new quest mechanic, which it chains different missions together so that you're completing, 3, 4, 5, as many as you want, missions to complete a quest. And completing the quests are what get you through the storyline. So hopefully, if all goes well, I will have another update before Christmas or right after Christmas. That is just going to be the storyline stuff. I have a few more little tweaks that I might sneak in. There's been a few suggestions and some things that need to be addressed. I have been going through and doing some of the balancing stuff. You're going to notice little by little things are going to start tightening up, and you're like, hey man, are missions paying less, or is this going, or you'll notice prices of ships are going to start changing here over the next couple of months, and just the ways and the ease at which you're able to make money in the vanilla default campaign is going to start to change quite a bit. So just be prepared, don't freak out. There's lots of little moving parts that all have to get lined up, but little by little it should start feeling a little bit more tighter, not so easy to get the money. And then the biggest part that's going to change is when I go through the resource distribution on the map. And then that's really going to make everything make sense. And you're going to go, oh, okay, I'm getting it now. I see why these things are more expensive and why these things are a lot cheaper than they used to be. Certain things are going to tweak out a little bit. And then the way that the ships, it really is going to control the progression that you're going through, because the resources that are available to you, the raiders that are going to be available to you at those lower levels and those inner systems, the safer systems, are going to be a little bit more aligned with the kind of progression that you're going with. So it'll feel a lot more tighter. It'll feel a lot more planned, more intended. And it won't feel so loose and so easy, because once currently with the campaign, it's designed so that you guys can get into the good stuff fast. And it does feel like at a certain point, it tricks you. It makes you think that, you're playing a completed, finished thing. And then once you get to a point, you're like, oh man, this is getting too easy. I don't like the way that this is, now I feel like I've beat everything. Well, it's kind of intentional. I want you to be able to tell me that there's bugs on ships that are very expensive. And, I don't want to wait for the players that want to have to go 100 hours into a game to figure out like there's a bug on this ship. So I wanted to make things easily accessible, and by jacking up mission rates, jacking up loot from the raiders, and making sure there's plenty of mining ore available in salvage, it makes it kind of easy for the players to get up quickly and progress into building structures and trying to build sectors and things like that. All right, let's see where we're at here. Okay, so one thing I want to point out is that pie plate that I was showing earlier in the ship editor has transferred over into the game itself. So now, for example, if you open up the shipyard and you select the ship, you'll notice that pie plate is going to give you a visual representation of the size of the ship. And you may notice that we have a real station camera in here now. Prior to build 138, this was a piece of crap rotational script that I quickly designed so that it would be easy to rotate around and look at the ships. And now I've set it up so that it behaves exactly the same way as all the other ship cameras do. So no longer is it counterintuitive to what you expect. It actually functions exactly the same way. And you can see the scale of these ships now based with that little pie plate. Now, there is no option to turn the pie plate off on these other panels, but I will be adding that in the future. Maybe I'll just put a main one in the options panel that'll let you say, don't show me those pie plates. I know what the size of the ships are. But then, you click something tiny and little, and you can see the scale between something big and something small. And that has also carried over into the garage. So now in the garage, you can see that pie plate as well. And then I did make another little tweak. It's something that I should have done a long time ago. But now when you select these items, these particular things, it will focus the camera on that item. So it makes it a little bit easier when you're trying to figure out where that module was that you clicked. So now the camera is focusing on that module, and it makes it a little bit easier to see that. And then when you back out or you exit the panel, it'll put the camera back where it's supposed to be. So we got that fixed. And let's go ahead and close this panel, and I'll show you the same thing is happening in the ship details panel, where you're also seeing the same pie plate. Alrighty. Okay, let's go ahead and undock here, and I'm going to show you one last thing. I just wanted to cover some of the more important stuff, and I don't want to make this video too long because I got to do another one here in a few weeks to show you some of this mission stuff and how the new questline system is going to work. So first things first is there's been some issues, and I really want to thank one of the Discord members for helping me out. His videos and his tutorials not only have helped new players, but have really helped me improve the game. And there's 3 guys that are on the Discord that know who they are and have greatly contributed to this stuff. And I'll give you guys a special little shout out video that I'm going to be doing here in a couple weeks that is just about the progress of Astrox overall, and what the plan is, what's going on, what are some of the things I've run into that are difficulties, and it'll be a video where you're not just staring at the game. You'll actually see my face, and I'm going to walk around outside and just talk about some stuff. But anyway, he had pointed out that there were some issues with some of the way that this targeting with your modules, the way that you are activating your modules, and the way that different, mercs and things would target different targets. Boy, that sounded really smart. So you'll notice now when you're mousing over the targeting panel, you're seeing over here these 2 other icons are popping up, and it's just an icon that'll pop up just for targeting. So for example, I can go over this one and I can say I just want to autopilot to that target, right? So I'm not doing the double clicks or anything like that, and then also activate my modules on that target. So any active module that I have will target there without changing my direction. For example, I have a target, I click these things, they're now active on this target. I click over here, they're no longer active on my active target. That's why it lost its ring. And you can mouse over this and change the target that way, but you can also now come over to here and say switch to all my active targets have now switched to Void Starcross. And this should make some of the combat stuff a little bit easier. And if we use this and discover that we need a little bit more, or that there's a better way, or maybe the buttons should be bigger, or however we need to tweak it, you guys know me, I got no problem with that. So use it up, spit it out, find where it's weak, and we'll make it strong. All right, guys. Well, again, I don't want to make this too long. I hope everyone has an amazing holiday and you get to spend some quality time with the people that you love. This world's getting crazy, so I'd make those moments count the best you can. Until next time, this is Momo Guru signing out.